Hi everyone. So I hope you have set up your development environment and now you're ready to start working with React. But before actually moving to React, let's talk a little bit about HTML, CSS, right? So let's see. Just let's see what we are going to do. Okay. So let's see. I'll just create one very normal index.html file, right? Just a normal HTML file, and I'll just write my boilerplate code over here, right? Now the task is that I want you to just create a div and print a hello message inside a h1 or a p tag wherever you want, right? So that's very basic, right? So what you will do, you will just go into this body tag. You will say, okay, we have to print hello. So we'll just create a div, right? Let's just give this div an ID. Maybe let's give this an ID of root because this is just our starting div, the outermost parent, right? So I'm giving this the root, right? And inside this div, what I will do, I'll just create one h1, and inside this, I'll just write hello from HTML, anything like that, right? Very simple. So if I now run this with live server, I hope you have live server. If you do not, you can just go over to extensions. You can download live server from here, right? So what live server will make you do is live server actually enables you to start your HTML directly from this particular index.html file or whatever HTML file you have created. You just have to click on, you just have to right click, and over here you will see open with live server option, right? It directly just starts this, right? So yes, this is a extension that you can install, right? Otherwise, okay, let's come to our point, right? So div root, and inside this root we have an h1 clearly. So if I open this right now, you will see that this browser window will open for you, and you will see a message hello from HTML. If you go to inspect, if you go to your elements, you can clearly see inside your body you have a div element, and inside this div element you have h1 hello from HTML. Very simple, right? But now what if I ask you the same problem, that I do not want to do this particular thing with HTML, I want you to use JavaScript for this, right? How will you do that? So basically, if you want to do this same problem with JavaScript, so I'll just comment this h1 out. What you will do? Now you will just write a script, right? You will just write a script where you will just have all the JavaScript code that will do this task for you. And how you write the script? So I'll just write the script for you. So here is the script, and inside the script, what you're going to do, first we have to print a message. So let's get that message. So I'll just say const message is basically we'll have to create a new element. So I'll just say document dot create element. Right, so I'm going to create an element, and which kind of an element we want to create? We want to create an h1. Clear? Now, if you want to create an h1, then we must pass the message inside this particular h1 element as well. So how will you pass the message? You will just say the message variable, take the message variable, right? Take the inner HTML of that message variable, and inside that, let's just pass hello from JavaScript. That's it, right? I hope you should see our message. No, we do not see anything. Why? Because now we have entered our inner HTML, we have created our element. Now we actually need to append our child into the root div, right? Then only we'll be able to see the message, right? Basic DOM thing, right? Alright, so let's do that. So what you will do, you will just create a root. You will just try to refer the root. And how we are going to refer the root? We have already given this root an ID of root, this div. So what we will do, we'll just say document.getElement by ID, and inside this ID we'll just pass root. So now in this variable we are actually referring this particular div, and as we now know that okay, this is our root, now we can just simply say that inside our root we need to append child. And what child we need to append? We need to append message, right? This h1 basically, right? So now we have created an element, and inside that element we have passed our message. So our element is h1, inside h1 we have a message, and that message we are getting the root, and inside that root we are putting the message as a child. That's it, simple DOM, right? Now if you see, so now you will see the output hello from JavaScript. And now if I inspect, you clearly see we have a script, we have a div. So if I open this div, now you see this is the h1 that we just created with the help of JavaScript. And how this got created? This got created because we wrote this particular script over here, right? All of these things were used. Now let's wonder, right, what actually is this script doing? This script is actually making use of the DOM. And all of these methods that you see, document.createElement, document.getElement by ID, root.appendChild, everything is actually communicating with the DOM and changing things in the DOM that we call as DOM manipulation, right? So we are manipulating our DOM and we are creating this particular element so that now we can see this message, hello from JavaScript, right? Everything is happening like that. But now, if we want to do this thing with the help of React, then how we are going to do this? That's basically the question, right? So now let's actually start working with React. Alright, so I'll not make use of any build tools like Vite or Create React app right now. Right now, I'll just show you that how you can inject React in your HTML file with the help of CDN links. Yes, exactly. We'll just use bare CDN links, we'll inject them in our index.html file, and we'll see how we can make use of the React, right? Then we'll also identify some problems with it, and then we'll actually move to build tools like CRA or Vite, whatever, right? So first, what I will do is I'll just go to Google and I'll just type CDN link for React. That's it. So as soon as I type this is the first website that I'll encounter. I'll just go inside this, and this is actually the CDN link that we can use to actually get started with React, right? So this is the CDN link. Although this particular website is no longer updated, this is an old React website. But yes, to actually get started with things, you need to have your foundation solid, and that's why we'll be using the old documentation as well as new documentation wherever that will be required, right? Alright, so let's see. So this basically is the CDN link that we need to use, right? So I'll copy these two scripts and I'll copy this in my index.html file. So let's go over there, and over here what I will do is I'll just remove this particular code because now we don't need this, and I'll just remove this script as well. And here what we can do, we can actually have both of our CDN links. So one string and second string, and I'll just use prettier to format this, right? So over here you can see format document, and I'll just format the document, and you see prettier has formatted it for me, right? Now it's looked pretty decent. That's why I'm using prettier. Alright, great. So now you can see we have these two scripts injected, and both of these scripts are actually React scripts, right? One is React script, core React script, one is React DOM script. Right? Now there is a difference between these two. What these two scripts will do. Alright, right now you do not know the powers of React. Right now you do not know what React has about all its features and all. So let me just tell you, React is an external library. Right? This is what you should focus on. React is an external library. So your browser doesn't know that anything like React exists in the world. What your browser knows, your browser only knows the DOM. Yes, the document object model, exactly. Your browser only knows the DOM. Browser doesn't know what React is. React is just pure JavaScript framework. That's it. Or library, right? But it is not, but your browser doesn't know about it, right? So React needs to communicate with the browser, right? So over here, if you see this first link has everything that core React requires. All the features, right? Everything. All the state changes, all the props and stuff like that. You will learn about these things. But the core properties of React are stored inside this particular link. We'll open this link, I'll show you, right? And the second one is React DOM. Why React DOM? Because this particular link, this particular script is actually helping React to communicate with the DOM. So indirectly to communicate with the browser. Right? Because browser doesn't know something like React exists, right? React is external. So now you will be using React, and with the help of React DOM, you're going to communicate with the DOM. So this particular thing is actually acting as a connection from React to your browser, right? So that's why we have two links. This link has all the core React properties, features, and this will actually help you to connect with the DOM, connect a React application to the DOM, right? So this is how we have these two links, and now let's just also explore this in detail. So basically this link, I'll just first open this link, right? Let's open this and see what this is. So I'll just copy this and I'll just go to my browser and I'll just paste this over here, and let's see what it has. So if you see over here, I'll just zoom it a bit. So over here, you will see copyright, Facebook, and everything is over here, right? So now you see that this is actually legacy code. This is actually Facebook's own code. So they have written it, they have copyrighted it, right? So basically, if you will go down over here, right now they completely have JavaScript code, right? Which is totally not understandable like this. But yes, this is all React code. This is all React source code. Right, this line is enough to tell you that. If you go to the top, you will see this source code is licensed under MIT license, right? So this actually is the React source code, right? Core React. This is core React. Similarly, if I open this particular file, that is your React DOM. So let's copy this and let's open this as well. I'll just open this as a new file. So over here as well, you will see some code, right? So this particular code is to connect your DOM to React application. That's why this is React DOM, and over here you have React code, right? So this is how all the source code is. We do not want to go into the source code, just wanted to show you, right? So this is what these two links are actually doing, right? But now the main question is that we have ingested React in our index.html, but now how to use it? How we are going to solve this particular problem with the help of React? How we are going to print in our page hello from React, not with HTML, not with JavaScript, but now with React itself, right? So in the next lecture, we'll be talking about how you can actually use React with the help of these CDN links. Thank you.